What is up, guys? It's your boy Steady Chaos Productions coming to you with another product review. So in my last video I did the LG CX or C10 OLED television, and now I'm going to jump over to the audio side of things and give you a review on the Astro A40 headset and the Astro A40 Mixamp. So I've had this headset now for several months, I'd say maybe 4 or 5 or so months, and I've had plenty of time to use it and formulate an opinion on it. And I want to share some of my thoughts with you guys, give you my opinions, let you know if I'd recommend it or not. So I purchased this headset from Best Buy. It was $250 for the whole package. So that includes the Astro A40 Mixamp, and that includes the headset with the mic. I first would like to talk about the aesthetic of the headset and its comfort, and also its functionality. It is somewhat customizable. So here is the headset. Astro A40. It's a beautiful headset for sure. It has a somewhat of a futuristic vibe, futuristic look to it. It's got the nice metal sides here. It does have a plastic top. It has a very sturdy build and construction to it. I wouldn't worry too much about dropping it, say, on a carpeted surface or something like that. Obviously you wouldn't want to drop it on a very hard surface from any measure of height, like hardwood floor or tiling, although it may actually survive that too. I don't know about the boom mic, though it is kind of flexible. It's very adjustable. You can see it's spring loaded here. All you do is just push it up and then it can go back down. Same here, up then back down. The ear cups swivel. And in terms of further customization, the interesting part is the mic will come off, and then these side plates that you see, these Astro A40 plates, they're magnetic, which is a cool touch. So you can just kind of take it off, and then bam, it snaps back into place with minimal effort. That is a really nice touch. Same here, the right plate comes off, and then it just snaps right back into place. So when you look at the headphones, you'll notice that on the left ear cup, it says left and right here on the inside of the headset for you to easily distinguish how to put them on. But on the left ear cup, there is the hole for the boom mic to plug into. Now, if you wanted the boom mic to come out of your right ear cup, all you have to do is switch the plates. So like I just showed you, you take this plate off, it has the hole for the mic, and you would just migrate it over to the right side, and then you could plug your microphone in on this side. So I thought that was a nice little touch, and it gives you an added level of customization, if you will. And I've also seen online that some of these plates can be interchanged with different colors. Maybe you can go with a red color scheme if you're so inclined. So yeah, the aesthetic and the customization is pretty nice. The aesthetic, I'd give the aesthetic a solid 9 out of 10, and customization probably a 7 or 8 out of 10. Like I said, you can do the outside clips, you can change up where the mic goes, but that's really it though. You can't really change where the 3.5mm jack goes. That goes into the left ear cup whether you like it or not. So in terms of comfort, very cushy. If you look at this ear pad here, you can see it's very cushy, very soft, very comfortable. And you'll actually notice that these pads, you can actually take them out. And again, they are also magnetized. You see little magnets around them, so if you want to put them back in, there you go. They slide right back into place. Same thing on this side. Minimal effort, comes right out, and then they snap back into place. So if you wanted to get replacement parts, and you saw that your ear pad was really dirty, or it was really tearing or wearing down, you could easily replace the part. Easily. With minimal effort. Very, very comfortable headset. It's right on. I could game for hours with these without any fear of fatigue, without any fear of sweat, without any fear of pain along the top of my head here, because there's also some nice padding along the top of the headset. And also the headset is very comfortable, you'll be glad to know, for those who wear glasses. And you can see I have glasses on. The headset is in no way, shape, or form pressing up against my glasses and in turn pressing up against my head. There's none of that. It's all very comfortable. The ear cups fit very nicely, are very soft. The one thing I will say is it's not a huge headset. I have a fairly big squash, and I have to pretty much set the headset to its maximum size setting. So these silver metal pieces pushed all the way down We're pretty much all the way down. I'd say about 95% anyway. And that's pretty much how I wear the headset. Maybe a tad tighter, maybe like 90% of the way. So yeah, so if you have a slightly larger head than me, which there's no way for you to really know, I kind of have a big head to begin with, but if you do have a slightly larger head than me, you'll probably have to have these headphones on the maximum extension setting, and hopefully they'll still fit your head. I don't suspect it'll be a problem for 99% of people out there. Just wanted to let you know that as it stands right now, for me anyway, I do have the headset on almost the max extension setting for comfort. That aside, like I said, very, very comfortable headset and no complaints whatsoever about the comfort. If I had to give them a rating, I'd say that they're a 10 out of 10 in terms of comfort. In my last video, when I showed you my setup, you saw that I had the Sony Golds, I have the ATH M50s Audio Technicas, and then my prized possession, my Sennheiser HD 700s. So the only headphone, and I've tried multiple other headphones too. The only other headphone that I've ever tried that is more comfortable than these is indeed the Sennheiser HD 700. These are a little bit lighter, and they are so effing comfortable. So let me make sure I have these on. Yeah, okay, so right and left. Oh man, seriously, it's like you have nothing on your head with these. They're light, they're airy, but at the same time they have a strong build. Here is the frame right here underneath this plastic piece is metal. So yeah, this is the only set of headphones that I've ever worn that is more comfortable. But again, this is not a really fair comparison to the Astro A40s, because when I bought these 4 or 5 years ago, they were $700. Now you can get them for probably $400, but to compare a $700 pair of headphones to a $250 pair of headphones, it's not exactly apples to apples. I'd say that's apples to oranges. But I just wanted to get that out there to convey to you that while these are extremely comfortable, 10 out of 10 I'd say, they are not the most comfortable I ever worn. They are a little bit heavier than the Sennheiser HD 700s. They're a little bit more bulky. In terms of the type of audio they produce, it's more of an isolated sound with these headphones as opposed to my Sennheiser HD 700s. These 700s are what's called an open back headphone. So basically what that means is the ear cups are not sealed off. They're open to some degree, so that allows for some sound leakage to go outside of the ear cups. But the point of that is to increase the sound stage so that when you listen to music, there's greater separation and a greater sense of fullness with any music you might be listening to. These are not musical and they're not intended to be musical, so I'm not going to ding them for not having the most open up soundstage. That said, these are more isolating in nature, they're a little bit more closed off in nature. To be clear, they're not noise cancelling headphones, but they do isolate a little bit more, which is what you want when you're gaming. You want to know where that gunshot is coming from. You want to be able to pick it out amongst all the chaos. And when you have these on, you kind of feel to some degree like you're in your own little world, and that's a good thing. If there's some ambient noise, if somebody's on the phone in the other room, I would want to wear these. These would block out most of that conversation and allow me to focus on the game at hand. Where if I'm using the Sennheiser HD 700s for gaming, some of that ambient sound leakage would find its way inside of my ear cups and distract me. So with that out of the way, before we get into the sound quality of these, some of the technical specifications of these, I'd like to jump into the Astro A40 Mixamp and give you a quick rundown of that. Alright, so I've switched up the camera and have it pointing down now at the headset and the Mixamp right here. Now, one thing to know about the Astro A40 Mixamp is that you don't have to pair it exclusively with the Astro headphones. On occasion, I will use my Sony Golds or my Audio Technicas or my Sennheiser HD 700s with this Mixamp. All you need is right here, the audio out is here. It's a 3.5 millimeter port, so any pair of headphones that you have that's 3.5 millimeter, which is pretty much all of them, you just plug it in there and you're good to go. Now, of course, the question is this Mixamp strong enough to power a high impedance headphone set like the HD 700s? I wouldn't say the HD 700s are particularly high impedance, but they are around 150 ohms of impedance. And this DAC amp is not quite powerful enough to really drive them the way that they should be driven. If you want something a little bit more powerful that I find to be an excellent DAC amp, I would recommend the Chord Mojo. This does a great job powering most all headphones, and really any headphone I've ever tried with this particular DAC amp, it's done a great job powering them. It can get loud as hell, let me tell you. I feel like with the sometimes with this mix amp, even when I'm using the Astro A40s, but certainly when I'm using the HD700s with them, I feel like it can't quite get to that volume level that I sometimes desire. I can't quite get loud enough. With the A40s, more often than not, I'm satisfied somewhere around this setting right here, like maybe 80-90% of the dial. I like my games loud though. With the HD700s, I max it out, and I still would like more volume oftentimes. So that's why if I'm using the 700s, I'm going to stick with the Chord Mojo. But obviously the A40 is meant for the Astro A40 headphones anyway. So breaking down the A40 real quick for you, like I said, it has the 3.5mm out. It has this large dial here, which is for the volume. All the way to the left is off. All the way to the right is on. And then the next smaller dial you will see to the right, this is for chat through the microphone and obviously into your ear cups. The louder you turn it up, the louder the chat is. And then this is all the way off. Now, these buttons you see in the center here, if I can move these aside, give you a closer look. Now, this button right here, this is the button that you will use to switch between Dolby Digital 5.1 decoding, which is if you hit the button and this little decal lights up, that's the Dolby Digital sign. Now if you hit the button again, you go to the right and then the star symbol will light up. That is just the native 2-channel audio or PCM audio that you would be getting. So it would not be Dolby Digital processing. And then this button down here is for your various presets that you can use. There are 4 particular presets, so you see these little dots here. I know this is not the best webcam, but you get an idea what I'm talking about. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 dots. Each of those dots have various equalization settings already uploaded to them, and we will jump into that in just a moment when I'm done describing to you this mix amp. So if you turn the mix amp over right here, now these 2 ports on the ends are for daisy chaining, meaning if you have some sort of a LAN party and you are playing other people, it's like 3v3 or something like that, and you want to locally connect various headphones to the one Astro A40 Mixamp so that you can speak to each other without any sort of input lag or signal interference or noise degradation or kind of like static that you might experience on Xbox Live or PlayStation Network. The next port right here, this is the optical port. With the PlayStation 4, you'll want to use the optical port in unison with the USB port to get 5.1 Dolby sound through this mix amp. This next port right here is the USB port, and then there's a little click right here. Clicks back and forth. If you click it to the right, that is to use this mix amp with a PC. If you click it to the left, that is to use it with a PlayStation 4. This outlet is the auxiliary outlet or a 3.5mm jack input. This is a stream input. You can use this port if you're streaming live, and so anything you might hear coming into your headphones that you want your audience to hear when they play the stream after the fact, you would go through this port and it would be captured by a capture device. And then another daisy chain port, as I mentioned. So that's pretty much a rundown of the Astro A40 Mixamp. Now, let's jump real quick onto the computer and show you how you can update the software for this Mixamp through PC, and how you can customize your EQ settings. Alright, so we are on the desktop now, and so the app can be downloaded online. You open it up right here. It's the Astro Command Center. Click on that and it says, please connect an Astro gaming device or switch the connected device to PC mode. So that was that back switch I told you about. You want to switch it over to PC mode. We've done that and now the app opens up. Okay, so you can go here, the little crank icon, and you can check for updates, which I've done recently. You can save various profiles, load various profiles. But over here, when I was referring to those 4 buttons and those 4 EQ settings on the Astro Mixamp, these 4 buttons right down here, they sort of align with these 4 EQ settings. So if you were to hit this button here on the Astro Mixamp and you have EQ setting 1, that's your Astro setting. That's the baseline setting. You can see all the various decibel settings that have been loaded, 95 Hertz up through 6339 Hertz. And of course, if you wanted to tweak this setting, you could go to Advanced Settings and you could do further tweaking to your desire and to your liking. And now if you hit the button again, now you're down to, as you can see the light, you're 2 down now, and you're on the natural bass setting, which is sort of a even across the keel setting. And all these EQ settings have been already preloaded onto the Mixamp. I have not adjusted any of these. And then if you hit the button again, you're on balanced, and you can see that the various values are changing. And you hit the button again, and you're on tournament. I find if I'm going to use one of the EQ settings, I prefer just the Astro setting, the top setting. I find that to be the best setting, but honestly, I don't really find any of the EQ settings to really blow me away. I mean, you can do if you purchase this product and you're so inclined, you can do an EQ search on Google and you'll get all sorts of suggestions on Reddit and various other websites of people telling you, oh, this is the setting you have to use for Call of Duty if you want to hear every single footstep. I mean, they're ubiquitous. They're all over the place. So if that's something you want to try, then they're certainly out there on the internet. There's all kinds of various customization options. One thing I do want to show you is you see over here, these 4 EQs line up with these 4 EQs. So this is the preset library. These 4 presets will always be there because they are the default presets that have been loaded onto the Mixamp. However, I have created one of my own presets, and if I want to load it on, I just grab it here and I drag it over, and you can see now EQ1 is the PS4 first-person shooter preset. And these are the various values that I have generated with the advice of somebody online. I did this a couple months ago. I like the setting. It doesn't blow me away like people always claim. And you can see if you look at the advanced setting, these values are also set to custom settings. I figured, what do I have to lose trying out some of these settings? It's fun to tinker with. If you find something you really like, then that's great. Stick with it. But like I said, I haven't really found any settings where I feel like I have some sort of serious advantage over the competition in terms of directional audio or hearing footsteps in such a way that my enemies can't. So with that out of the way, and with a full rundown on the Mixamp, let's sort of get into some of the technical specifications regarding the Astro A40 headset. So if we go to the main website here, so we are on astrogaming.com, and this is the headset I'm talking about now, the A40 TR headset. Now, if you want to just get the headset on its own, it's $150. And like I said, bundled with the Mixamp, it is $250. And here is the PS4. So this is the default color of the headphones. This is the version I have. It's sort of a blue and black. But you can also sort of semi-customize it if you wanted to go with a red and black look. You could do that as well. Although it does say down here, sold out. So you might be out of luck. Maybe you can find it on Amazon. I don't know. So if you're scrolling down, we'll quickly touch on some of the technical specifications and what I think about the audio quality. So primary specifications above that, a 3.5 millimeter mini stereo and PC splitter, boom mic, and then the technical specifications. They are dynamic, open 40 millimeter sound drivers tuned for gaming. Frequency response is from 20 to 20,000 hertz, so a solid range. And a nominal impedance of 48 ohms, which was a bit surprising. I honestly thought these might be closer to 15 or 20 ohms. I didn't really think there'd be much impedance at all. Like I told you, my HD700 Sennheiser headphones have a nominal impedance of 150 ohms. Now, if you're talking about really high-end headphones like the HD800S, I believe those are closer to 300 ohms, so you would really need some good power from a DAC amp or some sort of tube amp, whatever you'd use, to really drive those speakers, or to really drive the drivers within the ear cups of your headphones. And then if you look over at physical specifications, weight without cable 369 grams, length 8 inches, width 7.75 inches, height 3.75 inches, and the 3.5 millimeter port. All right. Now, for a quick discussion about my feelings on this headset, it has a good neutral sound to it, which is what you want, obviously. You don't want something that's particularly harsh or overly warm. You want something that would be relatively neutral and somewhat analytical, so that you could hear these subtle sounds, right? So that you could pick up these footsteps. And in addition to being subtle, they also have some good power about them. You know, they have some decent bass. It's nothing that's it's not Beats by Dre. You know, it's nothing that's going to rattle in your ears. It's not particularly deep bass. But for a gaming headset that tries to be neutral and all-encompassing with its sound, which it is for the most part, it has a decent tonal bass response to it. And of course, you can play with the bass response or the treble by customizing the Mixamp to your liking, you know, with the various EQ settings, which we just talked about. Now, to give you guys a rundown on how I feel about the surround sound capabilities of the Astro headset, it's interesting because the Mixamp will do, it'll decode 5.1 Dolby Surround, it'll emulate it, and then it'll also do the 2-channel stereo native sound, or PCM sound, as well. And honestly, a lot of the time, I really have a hard time distinguishing between the two on the Mixamp. And it's easy to change the setting, like I showed you. You just hit that button at the top on the Mixamp to distinguish between Dolby sound and PCM or raw or stereo sound. I honestly don't feel like you're gaining a whole lot with the surround sound emulation. If it were up to me, and oftentimes I just find myself playing with a USB cord only, which is 2 channels. And I'm perfectly content. I still feel like I can pick out footsteps like I could if I was using the surround sound function. So if you're looking to buy this headset and you've never had a surround sound headset before, all you've had is stereo headsets in the past, don't go into this purchase thinking that it's going to blow you away and that you're going to be able to have, you know, this 5.1 emulation in your ears and you're going to be able to pinpoint the footsteps from, you know, 90 degrees or 180 degrees. It's not going to be quite like that. Honestly, if you were to just play with a USB cord from your PlayStation 4 with stereo sound, it's the sound stage and picking out sort of the spatial awareness of footsteps or gunshots or explosions, whatever it may be, is just as good. So I am not overly impressed with the 5.1 emulation. It's not to say that it's bad or anything. I mean, the Sony Golds I have also do 5.1 emulation, and I didn't find that it was really any sense of true surround sound with those either. So maybe it's just something where I'm not particularly convinced. by this feature in headphones. Perhaps I'm more of a critic of its implementation within headphones. But you know, to each their own. You may enjoy it. You may like it better than just the stereo sound. Now, would I recommend the Astro A40 and the Astro A40 Mixamp to you guys? It depends on your situation. As you can see, I'm not blown away by the audio quality of the Astro A40s. I think ultimately, if you already have a set of PS Golds, which are a $50 or $60 set of headphones, but function well and do what they need to do, they have solid audio reproduction. If you already have something like that, or you already have the $150 Audio Technicas ATH M50s, and then you're looking at the Astro A40s and you're thinking to yourself, ooh, that's a $250 headphone. Maybe I'll have an upgrade. Maybe I'll gain in some sort of competitive advantage when I'm gaming online. Should I get these Astro A40s? My answer is no. That's a short answer is no. The audio reproduction and audio fidelity and directional audio from the Astro A40s is not really any better than any other headphone I've tried that also does 5.1 emulation like the PS Golds. Now the Astro A40s do sound a little bit better than the PS Golds. They're slightly warmer. The Golds might be a little bit more on the tinny side. I think there's a little bit more power and bass potentially in the Astro A40s. But the question is the audio reproduction and quality from the Astro A40s, is it $90 better than the PS Golds? Because you're probably going to get the Golds for around 60 bucks, and you're probably going to get the Astro A40s. If you don't buy them in a package deal with the Mixamp, you're going to get them for around 150. No, the Astro A40 sound quality is not $90 better than the PS Golds. The PS Golds are perfectly serviceable, and if you have something like the Technicas, absolutely not. The Technicas probably have better audio fidelity, reproduction, and quality than the Astro A40s. If you're somebody who is cash strapped and you have a couple $100 or say $250 and you're not sure how to improve your setup, maybe you want that awesome pair of gaming glasses, maybe you want that new customizable controller, or maybe you want to get the Astro A40 headset and Mixamp. Would I recommend you get it then? Tough to say. If you don't have an existing pair of headphones like the PS Golds or the Technicas or something else, Turtle Beach, then sure, because what you're getting is you're getting the DAC amp Astro A40 Mixamp with it, which is a pretty decent deal in that respect because you can use the Astro A40 Mixamp, as I said, with other headsets, which is really, really nice because you can customize those EQs on your Mixamp and then you can apply it to other headsets and not just the Astro A40s. So it's nice to have that freedom, that flexibility, if you will, with the Mixamp. The microphone also to touch on with the Astro A40s, if you think you're gonna have a much clearer microphone than say a pair of Turtle Beaches for 80 bucks, no, you won't. The microphone is fine on the Astro A40s. It's serviceable, it does what it has to do, but it's not like a Yeti mic or anything like that. It's nowhere near as clear and as bassy and rich sounding as a Yeti mic would be. It's obviously the Astro A40 mic is better than a cheapy, $10 little wired mic that you could find at Walmart, but it's not in and of itself, in my experience, worth upgrading. So ultimately what we boil down to for a final score, or final rating if you will, for the Astro A40 headset, from me anyway, is a 7.5 out of 10. So I would classify that as like a C, an average rating. Maybe slightly above that. Maybe if you want to get really technical, a 7.9, a C+, because the sound quality is good. It's probably slightly above average, but it doesn't blow anything else away that's much cheaper, like the Sony Golds, like some Turtle Beach headsets that I've owned in the past. And honestly, I'm not really a big fan of 5.1 emulation anyway, because it's not real 5.1. You only have 2 drivers in here. It's not like you have a 5.1 setup within these speakers. I feel like you can also get pretty good results just by playing these or any other headset in PCM 2-channel stereo, which is what I've always done in the past, and I've never really had any kind of directional problems, and I've never really perceived these or any other 5.1 headset as giving me some major advantage over the competition. So that's why I give them a 7.5 or 7.9-ish C+. But, you know, it's not to say these are bad. They are aesthetically very pleasing. They are customizable. They are extremely comfortable. And that's what buoys the score of these headphones to, say, the 7.5 to 7.9 range as opposed to just a 5 or a 6. And then if I'm going to give a rating for the Astro A40 Mixamp, I'd give it an 8 out of 10 because it has great customization options and because it's flexible. Like I said, you can use it with other headsets. That is awesome. And it comes with the software. You can download it and you can customize your EQ settings. It's flexible in terms of you can daisy chain for LAN parties. It has optical in, it has USB in. You can use it with your PC in addition to your PlayStation 4. You can get 5.1 Dolby Digital emulation and decoding if you hook it up to your PS4 with a USB cord and an audio optical cord. Or if that's not a route you want to go in and you just simply want to listen to PCM audio, which is 2 channels in stereo, then you don't even need the optical cable. You can just hook up the Astro A40 Mixamp to your PlayStation 4 via USB cable and you are good to go. So that flexibility, the multi-use of this Astro A40 Mixamp does sweeten the $250 package, and it is a worthy addition to your gaming setup. Before we conclude this video, I'd like to give you a sound demonstration of these headphones and the Astro A40 Mixamp, and what I will do is I will set these headphones on top of my Yeti mic so that you guys can get an idea of what the sound production is like in both 5.1 emulation and PCM 2-channel audio. Stay tuned. Alright, before we can get to that sound demo, I first want to give you a quick rundown on how to connect your PlayStation 4 to the Astro A40 and the Astro A40 Mixamp. So let's do that real quick and then we'll jump into the sound demos, alright? Let's go. Alright, so I've turned the PS4 Pro on and I'm going to walk you through how to do this. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you want to take the USB cord that comes with your Astro A40 Mixamp package. You want to plug one end into the Sony PlayStation, and then you want to take the Astro A40 and you want to plug the other end of the USB cord into the Astro A40 Mixamp. Once that's done, then you want to grab your optical cable and you want to plug in an optical cable to the optical out of your PlayStation 4. And then take the other end of the optical cable and plug it in to your Mixamp, like so. I have both plugged in now. So you go up into settings, you go down to sound and screen, you go to audio output settings. Now, because you're using an audio optical cable from your PlayStation 4 to your Mixamp, you want your primary output port to be digital out optical. So you click on that, and when you click on that, it brings you to this screen and asks you to select the input format supported by the device. And of course, as we've been talking about, it's Dolby Digital 5.1. So you do Dolby Digital 5.1. In your audio format priority, you want to select as bitstream Dolby, not linear PCM. Linear PCM would just be 2 channels, kind of like stereo right and left. You want Dolby bitstream so you get that 5.1 surround sound emulation from your Mixamp. So you get Dolby bitstream. And you're good to go. You're all set up. Digital optical out, Dolby bitstream. You take your headphones right here, plug in the jack, and then plug the other end into the A40 Mixamp, and you're in business. Now, to check, to make sure you're in business, hit the PlayStation button on your controller, the center button. Go down to Sound and Devices, and you will see now that you have control over volume control with your headphones. You can turn it up, you can turn it down. output to headphones is now all audio. You can do just chat audio, and you can adjust your microphone level. As you can see, too high. And now it's telling me it's too low. Here we go. One thing to note that is important, on the wire that connects the Astro Mixamp to your Astro A40, the 3.5mm jack and wire, there is this little plug right here that you can see. Now, if you put it down, that means that you have effectively turned off your microphone. If you switch it, and it'll be red if it's off. If you switch it up, your microphone is on. And now you can see, based on the input volume, that hello, I am now talking into the mic, and it is reading me loud and clear. As a matter of fact, it might be a little too loud, so you can turn it down to whatever your liking or your preference is. And that is really it. Alright, we are good to go. I have my Astro A40s and the Astro A40 Mixamp hooked up to the PlayStation 4, and I have the headphones on my Yeti mic, and we're going to play some Call of Duty Modern Warfare to give you an idea how the audio reproduction sounds, to give you an idea of maybe the different tonal sound between emulated 5.1 Dolby Surround and the PCM 2-channel stereo audio. So the first setting we will put it on is 5.1. So yes, it is on 5.1. The Mixamp is at about 80% volume. So let's jump into a quick match here.
Flash out!
And now we will jump over to the PCM 2-channel audio.
Enemy at the barrel. Enemy at the woods.
Alright, that gives you a pretty good idea of what the sound quality is like in both 5.1 and PCM. Let's try one more game here to mix it up a little bit. Get out of here. Once again, we will start out with 5.1 and then work our way over to PCM. We can open up Dirt Rally. So this first gameplay clip will be in 5.1 surround sound. Alright, now we will switch over to PCM audio. Alright, that is pretty much it for this sound demo. Let me know in the comments down below if you notice any difference between the 5.1 preset and the 2-channel PCM preset. Don't forget, in the description link down below, there will be a link for you to purchase the Astro A40 headset and Mixamp. Feel free to like this video, maybe leave a comment, tell me what you thought. Did you find it informative or not? Did it help you make a decision one way or another to purchase this product? And until next time, peace.